Hey, all the old captain here with Glorious Hat, glorioushat.com. This is something that it kicks around in my brain, and I never put it down on the to-do list. But then I was at the gym today. I'm like, I remember, so let's get this out, because seriously, years this has been rattling around. Excuse me. I are sick. We all know the liberal arts, and especially hyphenated studies, African American studies, Chicano studies, women's studies, stuff like that, are pretty stupid, especially those. But we take it for granted. We look at it and say, oh, that's pretty stupid. Why are you majoring in that? And we move on. But what I want to try to understand, and it provides insight into the minds of the people that do this, is how did you come to the decision to decide that this was what you were going to major in? Let alone, how did we decide that this is worth spending money, resources, and time on, either be it a private university or taxpayer-funded public universities? What is the concept? What was this whole idea? Who came up with the idea that having a study, a field, and heavy air quotes there, something like women's studies? What the fuck is that? I mean, just follow me through on this. Here you are, your name is Jane. And you're like, well, what do I want to do? I want to spend my time studying women? That's not a field. That's not a topic. That is something that just occurs in nature. And on top of it, aren't you female? The vast majority of people that go in women's studies are female. The vast majority of people who are African American studies are black. So don't you already kind of know everything? Are you already an expert in the field? And why would you study it? I mean, it's kind of like, it's like looking into a mirror. I want to just gape and look into a mirror the entire time and study myself. It is the epitome of vanity and hubris and thinking that you're greater something. You have to figure yourself out. There's no better expert in the world than you. So not only is the concept of women's studies, but all these other hyphenated studies, it's so stupid, so pointless. That's one thing. But to go down the path, to sit in the mind of somebody who is going through the decision-making process of, I'm going to major in it, it's so telling how psychotic, insane, and fucking ultimately not, well, arrogant and cocky, but ultimately worthless you are. You want to offer nothing to society. You are so lazy and so into yourself, you're going to study something that merely is an existence and a fact of life. Women's studies? I mean, think of it this way. I mean, here, let's really shoot a arrow across your bow. Men's studies doesn't exist. You want to know why? Frankly, we're not that stupid. I'm sorry. Maybe men just aren't that illogical or vain. But usually if we're going to spend some time and resources on something, we're not going to be sitting there staring down our crotch and studying our jamoke. Oh, what does it mean? The power of the jamoke. Oh, the power of the vag. Oh, intersectionality. I mean, my God. To me, seriously, this is not a joke. This is not because I hate women. But you want to talk about getting rid of the dead weight. You want to talk about getting rid of worthless people. You want to talk about cutting the budget. Why the fuck is any government money going into something like women's studies? What is the possible return on investment? What does it offer society except for hate, bigotry, meanness, not to mention laws that now make, oh God almighty, don't get me started about the false rape accusations. So, yes, we look at it, ha ha ha, it's funny. Waste of resources, look at those idiots majoring in worthless navel-gazing studies. But I want to point out the thought process and how mentally impaired you have to be to not only offer something like this at a university level, even to make it a field, but to spend 4 years of your finite time making it your career in life to study something that isn't studyable. There's nothing there to study except for vanity. That's all I can really, it's a degree in vanity. And this isn't just to single out women's studies, it's just the one that it occurred to me in my mind. But any one of you psychopaths, you hubris, arrogant cunts, who study yourselves, oh, I'm Asian American studies, I'm Middle Eastern studies. I'm like, dude, really? Really? It's called history. You don't want to know where you study all these different cultures and all that? You study it in history, how it interacts with other cultures, other peoples, other sexes, other religions, wars. That's where you study. That's what you study and find out, okay, where do people like me fit and play a role in life? But to solely single it out, and then to warp the study, to take it out of history and just come up with what is nothing more than bullshit. Ladies, I'm sorry, these millions of pages of these thousands of books that you have written about intersectionality and this and that and black feminism and white feminism, female, it's all bullshit. You're doing this. That's what you're doing. And you're not contributing jack shit to society. Of course, I think ultimately, deep down inside, you know that. That's why you chose these. So you didn't ever wish to contribute to society. You merely just wanted to have an easy way through life. And, I mean, seriously, I wish we could just give you a government check. I wish we could pay you welfare, because then, people on welfare at least shut the fuck up. But you broads with your fucking yap, yeah, we're oppressed. There's an ego component to it, too. So I'm not speaking to the feminists in the Women's Studies Department or the hyphenated American Studies Department. I'm talking to the normal people in the world. Please step back and look at what these people are doing and realize they're not only are they psychotic, they're bad for society. At minimum, they're costing us money and resources we don't need to spend on them, right? But God Almighty, don't get me started about what they're doing in terms of warping the family and warping law and making it just, good Lord, is anyone really, you see any happy 45-year-old NBA ladies, have you? Anyway, that's all we got. Just want to provide that little insight. Toodles.